Hello friends, I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today, I am doing a review of First Rat, a game from Pegasus Spiele, designed by Gabriele Asiello and Virginio Gigli. I am very bad at pronunciations. Anyway, this game came out last year, I believe, in 2022 from Pegasus Spiele, and it is a game kind of racing your rats to space. That's the theme, is your rats in a junkyard. You've got a team of rats collecting goods to build a spaceship to try to be the first rat in space. And that theme comes across as potentially you could even have Neil Ratstrong as one of your rats if you collect the right comic page. But anyway, what you're doing is you're racing up the board and trying to collect points, things along the way, various goals, objectives, or you could just try to race and be the first one to send all 4 of your rats to the spaceship, to the launch pad. There's a different amounts of strategy for this game. It's a very family-friendly beginner weight with just a little bit of thinky to it. And we'll go ahead and get to the overview so I can give you a little rundown of how to play and maybe play through a round or 2 real quick. All right, so here you see I have the board set up for 2 players as usual. To my left, I have the second player, so they get 2 starting cheeses and your starting cubes. I have my starting cubes here. The first player marker. This only is for determining, where the round started and ended. It doesn't move as the game goes on. It just sits with the one player because the game will end in one of 2 ways at the end of a round. So you want to mark whoever started the game because the person to the right would get the last move in the game. So in this game, what are you doing? Well, you start off with 2 rats. You have 2 others that you can get out of the shelter, I believe that is called. I'm not 100% on the terminology, but 2 more you can pick up along the way. And what you can do on your turn is simple. You are going to move either 1 rat or multiple rats. If you move 1 rat, they will move 1 to 5 spaces forward. And as you can see, there are plenty of colored spaces and they each do their own thing. So I could move 1 rat up to 5 spaces, or I can move multiple rats up to 3 spaces each, but they must finish on the same color space. So to start the game, I'm probably just going to move this rat up maybe to here and collect 1 cheese. I have a rat that finished on 1 cheese, so collect 1 cheese. Now, if on my next turn, and I'll go ahead and move that rat there, they would collect the box there of baking soda, I believe, because you mix that with the soda, and that's your thrusters for getting this ship out to outer space. And then on my next turn, I can move both rats 1 to 3 space. I can move this rat 1, 2, 3, and this rat 1, 2. And now I could collect 1 and 2 more cheeses, collecting from both the rats that moved on that turn. Then maybe my opponent would also want to come collect some cheese, so you could go 1, 2, and 1, 2. However, if you finish on a space with another rat, you must pay cheese to use that space. So if my opponent did that twice, this would be a not advantageous move for them, but they would give me their 2 cheeses, and then they collect 2 cheese. Your rats can never finish up on the same space, so they couldn't catch this rat up here. You must always finish on separate spaces of the same color. If I don't move this rat on a later turn, that's fine. I would just collect from the 1 rat, but if I moved them both, I would collect from both, assuming they finished on the same colored space. And that's the whole game. That's the gameplay. You just keep doing that up and down until the game ends. So very simple action movement. Move to spaces with number of rats, collect whatever's on the space. So what are the things you can collect on the space? Well, I already showed you how cheese works, and then the orange ones and green ones allow you to collect resources. There are 3 different types, or I guess 4 different types of resources that you can collect for 3 different turn-ins. You can collect baking soda, or baking powder and soda to start building thrusters. You can collect cans and baking soda to build, I forget what it's called, the ship body basically. Or you can collect some calculators and the cans of peas to get the cockpit. If you collect enough at the end of your turn or during your turn, you can turn in the required resources. So I could turn in 5 sodas and 2 of the baking soda and claim a spot on the board with one of my cubes. If I'm the first one to do that, that'll earn me 9 points at the end of the game. If the second person comes along and does the same thing, that'll earn 7. Every other person after that, even if it's you over and over again, you place your cubes there and collect 5 more points. Same with the body of the ship. You turn in the 2 cans and the 3 baking sodas, and you can collect 8, 6, 5 points. I've got some neutral cubes. If you're playing with 4 players, you won't have these neutral cubes in place because all 4 of you could play. But in a 2-player game, you're blocking off spots. If you happen to turn in enough to build all 3 parts of the spaceship, you have helped to build a completed ship, and that will get you a cube up on the completed ship track. So there are a bunch of tracks you can do. So that's what the green and orange spaces do. They allow you to collect the resources from the junkyard that you're going to use to turn in to build your ship. The other space outside of the cheese space, easily covered, are the blue spaces. Those are light bulbs. For every light bulb you collect, you're going to move your light bulb track along the track. This is going to be advantageous for you to collect more of things. Because if I move my light bulb up this far, and then I collected, say, some cheese along the way, I would collect the 2 and 1 cheese from the rats that were placed. But then for every cheese place that my light bulb has passed, I'd collect an additional cheese. So right now I'm at 3, but then I would get a 4th for that spot and a 5th for that spot because my light bulb has surpassed that. And I know I'm mixed matching colors right now, but hopefully you get the idea. So moving your light bulb up the track lets you exponentiate your potential. Not only that, but every time you pass one of these warning lights, these orange light spots, and there are 3 of them, 1, 2, and the very end, that allows you to place a cube up on this track, getting more points. So that's how the light bulbs work. The last place to learn how to work are the little apple cores. When you finish on apple cores, you'll move your little junkyard rats around, or the burrowing rats, I guess, around. In this little track, as they move around, they're always going to move in the clockwise direction, but they can come up any of these 3 sections coming back up to go around. If they pass up this section, you get to collect a comic book, and this will give you some asymmetric abilities, such as being able to avoid the payment for going through the tunnels, because I didn't point this out, but there are some shortcut tunnels, like this one's green tunnel. You pay 1 baking powder, and you can shortcut from here to here as a move. Orange tunnel, pay a calculator, you can shortcut there. So taking this would allow you to ignore the payment for orange. Taking this one allows you to move a little bit faster with each rat getting 1 more movement ability. This one lets you collect a little bit or turn in a little bit less resources when you're building, etc., etc. A little bit of asymmetric abilities that you can collect along the way by getting these apple core spots and moving your rat around and coming up this path. Or you can come up this path and release another rat for the journey. Every time you come around, boom, another rat free, so then you could use all 4 rats on the board. And finally, coming up this one just allows you to place some more cubes on another track, earning more points. But that's the longest way around, but it could be the most advantageous because points are how you win the game. The last couple things to point out are, first of all, when a rat reaches the last space on the track, they get to go to the launch pad. The first rat to do it is going to be a 10-point rat, and then 8, 7, 7, etc., as more rats come off. When you land on this space, not only do you get to send your rat potentially to space, they're just going to launch pad, no guarantee they make it to space, but they get to go to the launch pad. This space is a wild space, so it counts as any other color space, meaning your trailing rats could move up and you could still collect the benefits from their spaces. When you get here, you get a choice. You can either take one of these nuts that is worth 3 victory points at the end of the game, or you can free a rat to continue on the path. However, if your only rat has reached the launch pad, you don't get the choice of taking the nut for points. You have to free a rat if available. However, if all 4 rats get there, that marks the end of the game at the end of the round. That is one of the 2 ways the game can end, or at least set up the end of the game. One player gets all 4 rats to the launch pad. Immediately, the game ends at the end of that round. The other way to trigger the end of the game would be for someone to place their 8th cube. You get 10 cubes to start with. You're going to use 8. 2 of them kind of kept off to the side. When one player places their 8th cube on any of the tracks, for example, like that, as I miss one, let me throw it up on that track. Boom, done. As soon as a player places their 8th cube on one of the tracks, that triggers one final round. That means you play out the current round and then do one more turn, which is where the last 2 cubes could come and play for everybody, because now in my next round I could place 2 more cubes on a track. And that's the 2 ways to end the game. Rats up to the launch pad, or someone runs out of cubes. At that point, you collect points based on cubes on tracks or rats on tracks. That's it. And of course, leftover goodies, nuts you've collected, etc. It's pretty easy scoring though. Look at where you are on tracks, count up what you got left over. And I think I covered pretty much everything except the 3 spinning spots. There are 3 spots on the board. If you come to those spots, you can do one of 2 things. For this one, you can pay the gerbil 6 cheese and collect a backpack from those randomly distributed at the beginning of the game. Backpacks allow you to get extra things. So if I collect this backpack, I could get an extra green thing that I collect, an extra orange thing I collect. This one would give me 2 more light bulbs every time I collect light bulbs. This one would give me 2 more apple cores every time I collect apples. And then there's one that gives you, I think, 2 cheese every time you collect cheese. So backpacks are another way to let you collect more things along the way. The next space up here at the turtle is energy drinks. When you come here, you can spend 7 cheese and buy an energy drink. Energy drinks are one-time use, but when you use it, it allows you to double whatever you just collected. That could allow for a major turn of action. Maybe you just get a bunch of cheese real quick, or a bunch of resources that you want to use to build rocket ship parts, or whatever the case is. Maybe you just want to fly around this track a couple times. Using an energy drink will let you double whatever your collection is for 1 turn in the game. And then the final spot you can collect goods from are up here. It costs you 12, but you can collect one of the various bottle caps. There's 6 in a 2-player game. I think there are 10 total in the game. And if you're playing with all 4 players, I think they're all available. But these bottle caps allow you to get in-game bonus points based on the things you are achieving. So maybe you get 4 extra bonus points for every one of your cubes on this track, or 5 if you've helped build or 6 points if you help build the rocket multiple times. If you build thrusters, it's 5 extra points. However many times you're on the core, you get 4 extra points with that bottle cap. There are other bottle caps, but basically they're just going to give you more bonus points for the things you're already doing if you're playing towards your bottle cap. And of course, that one gives you, I think, 4 more for going to space. I might have mentioned that already. Not only can you buy them, but actually what you can do in this game is steal them. So if you land on one of these spaces after conducting your turn, say I'm getting the 3 cheese from this space, I could decide I want one of these, but I don't have 12 cheese yet. I could just steal this bottle cap, but because I stole it, I get captured and sent back to start. So I've lost my way on the track, but maybe it's fine. Maybe I wanted to do that. And I think that covers everything as far as how to play. It's not too in-depth. It's pretty easy. If you can count up to 5, you can play this and then, do the simple math from the tracks on the board. It's got a nice, easy to fill in scorecard for everything that could count as points. And the one thing I didn't mention too is if at any point you need cheese, you can borrow cheese. So maybe I'm cheeseless, but I need to pay somebody for a spot. You can do that. However, you got to take a rotten cheese, and this is worth -2 points at the end of the game. But it will give you 3 cheese right now. So you can use that to your benefit if you're hurting for cheese. But just remember, it comes at a cost of 2 points. I think that covers everything. Let's go ahead and go to my final thoughts here. What do I think of the gameplay? Well, for one, it's enjoyable. It plays pretty quick. I think me and my daughter played this in 20 minutes, 2 players. All you're doing is, taking turns collecting things and moving rats. Nothing too difficult about it, but it flows nicely. It feels good. It feels like a fun game. There are plenty of choices. Do you want backpacks? Do you want to chase these comics? Do you just want to come around the long way around this track and just start throwing cubes on the board? The last game I played, my daughter had 2 rats in space. I had 0 rats in space. I was just coming around collecting and placing cubes. I ended the game by placing my 8 cubes. I actually think I placed 9 cubes by the end of the game. And she went for building the ship and getting rats in space, whereas I spread out my cubes a little bit more. So there's a variety of options in the game, and it was a tight two-point game at the end. She beat me with her getting rats in space strategy because she got 1 more rat onto the launch pad on her last turn, netting her the 7 points. Sorry, I had to look, but it netted her the 7 points, and I came up 2 points short. But yes, you can chase down these various comic abilities. They give you asynchronous powers, so you could just slowly collect a bunch of those and then start zooming up through using the shortcuts. You can just pound at building certain parts of the rocket and just always collect the goods there. You could fly up the light track. That way you're just getting more from everything. And, if you're up at the top of the light track, you've got 3 cubes up on that track, scoring you a bunch of points too. The one space I didn't mention because I always forget about it, but right here in the middle, at any time you can turn in 10 cheese and go up the cheese track. So that's just another strategy if you just want to collect a bunch of cheese and work on that track. So this is a game where you're racing up the board and you're bumping those tracks. And you just got a variety of options at your disposal, but not much complexity. So I really like how this one works. Ingredients. What do I think of the ingredients? Well, you got nice wooden rats. They're cute. I don't know if there's upgraded packs available where maybe they were, laser screened with some more, eyes and ears and whatnot. I don't think so, but they're fine the way they are. I like the little rats. They look really cute. Cute little wooden rat meeples. These little rat guys here, your light bulb. It's all made of good wood. Decent cardboard for your punch outs here. I like the art. The art it's nice style. It's subdued where it doesn't need to have your attention drawn, but then where you need to know where the things are, that are nice and bright spaces. The light bulbs, nice and bright. You got a little bit of light on your gerbil and your turtle and stuff here, so they stick out just a little bit so you remember they're there. But the rest of the board is subdued. I like the junkyard art of the rocket ship and the parts that you're turning in. It's all nice and friendly and cute and fun, whimsical. The little first player, first rat token. Oh, hopefully you can kind of see that, maybe, whatever. It's a nice little touch. The board is double-sided, so it comes with the standard side. And then once you kind of get used to how the game plays, it's got a flip side where you can add the trail to it different every time and get a little bit of variability, so that way every play isn't the exact same and there doesn't get to be a standard order of operations for a player because it could vary. But other than that, yeah, and you can also vary the tracks, the point values on most of the tracks. I think the element standard is going to be your rocket ship track, always going to be the same. And so maybe one track you usually focus on this side of the board, well, you use the variable tracks, that'll change maybe where the more points are going to come from as well. So just a lot of options, good options on that as well. Every track has a little indicator for what track it is. Those are easily discernible for final score purposes. Z, is it easy to play? Yes, it's super easy to play. As I pointed out before, you move a rat, you collect the things. You move 2 rats, you collect the things. As long as they finish on the same color. There's a little bit to learn with the asynchronous, like the comic abilities and the points and the tracks and how they work. So, you might have to learn through it once just to know how it plays as it ends. But it's easy to play in general. Count 1 to 3 with multiple rats, or 1 to 5 with 1 rat, and collect wherever it is that you stop on with, 4 primary locations. There's the cheese locations, there's the green and orange locations that collect the parts, there's the blue locations which move the light bulb, and the white locations which move the mouse down here with the choices down there. Nothing overly complex. I think pretty much anyone over the age of 6 or 7 probably could catch right on to this one without a problem. And it's very welcoming in general. More of it. Do I want more of it? Yes, I like this game. And even when you get used to it, you can flip the board over. You got variable spot placements, so the track isn't always the same. You can vary up the score tracks, variability from that. So once you get used to the game, you can mix and match and make different tracks with different levels of power. You're mixing and matching the comic books that are available, so the asynchronous abilities will vary. The point in the game points, unless you're playing with 4, I think, are going to vary. You got 4 especially rats. You got Neil Ratstrong. You got Ratwoman. You got Arnold Rattenegger and 1 more I don't remember offhand. But they give you special powers, and you can slide them right into the tail of your rat to identify which one it is. And Neil Ratstrong is super special. He can immediately zoom right to the end of the track, be the first rat in space, just like Neil Armstrong was. If you want to just do that with him, or he can, work his way up like normal. And he's worth twice as many points wherever he finishes. So he could be a big scoring rat if you collect him from the start. All the wealth of options, the different play styles you can try, the varied tracks, like I said, the varied options, just a lot of variability in a simple package. So I think it is very replayable, and therefore I do want more of it. All right, originality. Is it original? I'm going to say yes. The theme alone, getting the first rat in space, coming through the junkyard, collecting things, that's unique, that's different, that's fun. I enjoy it. The way it plays is maybe not as original, kind of Candyland-esque without the random factor. You're moving up to a colored space, and that's it. Collect the things, move on. So it's got the standard moving up a track without the random dice roll or card flip or whatever you would normally do when you're moving pieces on a board. You get to say in what you're doing with it, and I like that. I like that it is simple and fun, but unique enough to feel different, but familiar, And the theme, I guess you could call it kind of tacked on in a way. This could be collecting resources for any purpose. But I like it. I like the rats going through the junkyard and building a spaceship to try to get to outer space. And it works. It's fun. It's a good family game. I enjoy it. So my final thoughts. What do I rate this? Well, I rate it a 4 out of 5 gizmos, like an 8.2, I believe, out of 10 for the Board Game Geek rating. I just really enjoy it. It's great, lightweight, family plus style game that I can play with my 10-year-old and probably younger, and they'll have fun. And I played it with a group of friends my age, and we all had fun and enjoyed it too. There's enough strategy without it being too strategic. And it plays quick enough that nobody's getting tired of it before it's over. It doesn't outstay its welcome, but there's plenty of variety and plenty of thinkiness involved in trying to get the best rat into space. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe below if you haven't already. Why haven't you? Come back. I bring a new video every week is kind of my goal, whether it's review, a top 10, or any other conversation discussion point in the board game industry. Just try to bring my thoughts from a mostly solo gamer and family style gamer, but I really like heavy Euros too and try to get them played with multiplayer. But generally I'm going to be a solo player, so if that interests you or family stuff, definitely come check me out. Let me know in the comments below if you've played First Rat, what your thoughts are, and what you like or dislike about it, and whether you agree or disagree with my review. What did I forget? Let me know in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.